Hello crafty friends, welcome back to my channel and my craft table. So glad you're here with me today. Today I am kicking off my 2026 Christmas card series. Now, I know July is a little early, but as a card maker and then someone who sends tons and tons of cards for Christmas, I have to get started early. So I thought that I would just start diving right into Christmas card making, and I wanted to bring you along. So today is the start of that series, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so today I'm going to be using some products that were sent over to me from Spellbinders. Y'all, I have been playing with these, and I am seriously, I probably could do my entire year's worth of Christmas cards using these series. They are so simple and they're so fun. Let me just show you a couple of cards I have made so far. First of all, I made this card right here. I used one of the circle dies here to cut out some circles in the cardstock. And then I have the snowflakes on top. Super simple, right? These embellishments were already in my stash, and then this is a Christmas stamp from Spellbinders that I already had in my stash as well. So love it, super simple. The next one is an ink blended panel, and then it has this. This is called Snowflake background. So I did this, and it creates this white panel. And then behind that, I did an ink blended panel with my Distress Oxides. This is Joy from that same stamp set I just mentioned. And then I used these to cut out the two different circles that I needed. And then I just have some sweet gem embellishments on there. So y'all, this, I mean, you could mass produce these so easy, okay? This was a really simple card. Next, I took the snowflakes, and at first, I just kind of marked off a grid with my pencil, super light, and then I ran in pairs. I ran the snowflakes through the card stock, and behind it, I just used some holographic cardstock behind that. And then these little centers right here, I glued them in the middle of each starflake. This is a foiled sentiment. So this is another Spellbinders sentiment. This is a press plate. And I just pulled that out, did a whole bunch of foiling and cutting sentiments. So this is such a great card to send, and you could literally put anything behind the snowflakes. The best part is you have a bunch of snowflakes left over. Next, and this was the last one I did when I was playing, is I made a background. So when I cut out those snowflakes, the two individually, I had them, and you'll see this today, but basically I took the negative, the leftover cardstock, and I used it like a stencil, and I went around all over. I just used my Distress Oxides, and I went all over with some blue, super light. This is right here. This is from Snowflake Wreath. So I cut out the Snowflake Wreath. The smaller part of the wreath here, this inside, okay, with that ring right there is what I used to cut out this gold. And then on top of that, I just have a white snowflake, a little bit of black splatter, and a sentiment on top. So oh, love it. These were so super simple. So I wanted to share these with you, and let's go ahead and talk about what we have here. This is called Layered Snowflakes. I just want to show you what they have. It has a large base snowflake, just like that. It has an insert. Okay, so just like so. And then this insert here. And I'll show you kind of how all those work together. I just die cut a ton of stuff the other day. And then there is this little piece right here, and it's meant to fit there. So all of this is meant to layer together, or you can just die cut all the layers separately from different cardstocks or pattern paper, and then layer them to how you like. Again, with the background, so this with the background, it will cut out your cardstock for you, the edge, right? I already had the A2 panel cut down, so I just used the plate and I already had the edge, so it didn't have the little indentions on the side, but that's okay. This was absolutely gorgeous. Then over here with the snowflake wreath, so you've got an outer, let me pick this up. You have an outer ring, okay? And here's what I like about these layering items. You see these little teeth? So you've got some short ones and some longer ones. All of these, well, not all of them, but everything that's gonna layer together, like all of these, they have teeth, and it helps you line up, like, where does it go? Okay, so these little notches, you line it up on your die cut platform, tape it into place so it doesn't shift, but it cuts beautifully, all right? So this is fantastic. And what I did is I spent like a whole evening and I just cut a variety of things from like different combinations of the layering dies. I just cut a bunch of different combinations. Okay, so today we're going to be using primarily items that are die cut from the layering snowflake. I do have a few elements that came from the snowflake wreath, kind of like this right here. But for the most part, everything is coming from this. And I do have one or two of the snowflake background panel pieces. Okay, so for my first card, I have a snowflake. This is that middle insert. And then I have this piece here from the other wreath. And then I have this little card base here. So first of all, I need to cut this card base down. So I'm bringing in my paper trimmer. Now, an A2 size card is 4 1/4 this way, 5 1/2 this way. So I want to bring this down before I cut it. Let me double check one thing. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. All right, next I'm gonna bring in some saltwater taffy. So this is from my distressed inks. And I'm gonna just grab a little blending brush. So lately, I have been doing some really fun stuff. When I die cut images, I am starting to just save the negative and then I use it like a stencil. So that's what I have here. And I'm gonna start, well, let's see. I like this side of the page better. I don't know why, but I'm gonna just show you because I would like to use this where they're kind of together. I could even, this actually would be pretty easy to do. You could just snip that apart right there. And I could add this little snowflake over here. So I could have like a little trio, something like this here. All right, let me get a little bit of mint tape so I can hold that in place. So now I have a trio of snowflakes. You can even cut down. Now the other day I just went, I just used it like I showed you, right? So today I have this here. If you're concerned about them kind of falling apart on you, you can add some tape to the back. And this is really just holding everything together. It's not making a difference in the ink blending. Okay, so I have these 3 snowflakes. They're put together, ready to go. So this is gonna be my stencil. Now I'm gonna start on this back side and I just wanna test right here. I wanna make sure that that blue isn't gonna get picked up by my pink, because if so, I can just turn it over like that. But I guess I could just turn, I don't want the blue on the cardstock. This is why I was kind of thinking about leaving it. Okay, so I'm not really seeing blue on there, but that is the gist of what we're gonna be doing on the front side. The next thing that I want to do is I'm just gonna get these little corners. And again, I'm just using a little bit of mint tape. Now, normally I would use my sticky mat for stenciling. However, since I am needing to move this around everywhere, I'm just gonna tape it to my glass mat. And I am gonna tap it off because I really want a very faint snowflake. And I like to go off of the edges. So kind of like this. And then sometimes I'll go like that just to help hold it down, but I just kind of start off the edge and I go in both directions. Okay, so something like that. And then I pick it up and then there are my snowflakes. Isn't that so fun? A couple of things to keep in mind. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. If your snowflake is really close to the edge, you can take some extra cardstock or a Post-it note and just put it around the edge so that you don't get ink in places where you don't want it. So I am going to grab a couple of just some sticky notes just in the event that I need to, you know, put it right close to the edge so that I don't get anywhere. And so I'm going to put some music on for you. I'm going to go ahead and continue stenciling, and then we will proceed to the next step. Okay, so here is my background. Now you'll notice I've got a little, you know, not very dense there. Toward the end, you saw that I was just using like literally, I wasn't even tapping or getting ink anymore from the pad. I just was pretty much using whatever was on the brush and doing a super light layer, almost like to give it that ghost effect. And snowflakes that are darker are closer, and snowflakes that are lighter are theoretically way in the back. So here is my snowflake panel, and I created my own stencil using those snowflake dies. Okay, so we all know that postage will be increasing just a little bit here soon. I recently went and got, you know, a full sheet of, or I got 2 sheets of regular stamps, and then I got several sheets of the non-machinable. And I do that because I send a lot of cards. But remember, if it's more than a 1/4 inch thick, it's non-machinable. If it's rigid, it's non-machinable. If it's square, it's non-machinable. So I do have a video about postage, like, you know, what kind of postage is needed for what type of characteristics your card has, what kind of weight, etc. Okay, so that would be center. And then about right there. So for the most part, I'm trying to keep most of my cards, I am trying to keep them where they are, you know, flexible. They're machinable. They can just go through the regular system. I'll let that sit for just a second. Get that there. Let me put this pen in. We're going to go ahead and get our card base ready. Okay, so I have my scoreboard. Here is my card. This is 4 1/4 by 11. And this one will be a top folding, so I'm going to score this at 5 1/2. Okay, then we're going to give that a good press. Then we've got a sticker here for the back. This is like a little Christmas logo sticker. Okay, and this is my front. Now, another thing you could do is here on the inside, I'll just show you, you could just be ever so light in application, but you could take whatever's on your brush and just give the inside a little bit of the same snowflake stencil from that you saw on the front. Okay, so just like that. So it's very, very subtle, which is what you want for the inside. Okay, all right, then we have this here. Now this is our panel, and I'm just going to use some tape runner on the back. Okay, and then I'm going to center this to the best of my ability. Okay, so we got that down. Okay, next we're going to take this. Now this is chunky glitter cardstock. In fact, I have cardstock left over from when I got it from Joanne, and some of it is so pretty, and I decided to try and use it up during my Christmas card making. No sense keeping it because I'm not going to be able to get any more anyway. Okay, now the best part is this is just going to set right down in here like that. So that's another thing I like about this particular series is that you can mix and match these, right? So I have the snowflakes that I used for the background. I made my own stencil. And then I have this from the snowflake wreath, but this piece here is from the layered snowflakes. I'm going to grab some sentiments. Now I've been making a bunch of sentiments all over the place, and I've got a ton of them. Okay, so this is a gold and a white, so we could do celebrate the season. I don't know if I do have a gold there. 'Tis the season to be jolly, deck the halls, all wound or wrapped up, a wonderful life. Kind of like that. So I'm going to use that down there. Okay, so I'm just keeping all of my sentiments in that cute little sentiment holder. Now that's from Tailored Expressions, but I find that it's very handy, and it's got like 2 trays that are segmented for these long sentiments, and they stack on top of each other and just hold everything nice and neat. I also have a bunch of sentiments in craft stacks. And then I'm not popping this up either. I'm just going to let this sit right down here, and we're going to be right justified. It actually has 2 layers, so I just die cut extra, and then I just grabbed 2 together and glued them, so just to make it a little bit more sturdy. Okay, and here is our card. It looks so good. I just love it. Now, had I thought about it, I would have taken this snowflake here, and I would have used a darker pink, and I would have gone just around those edges just to make that stand out a little bit more. I'm not sure how I could make that happen since it's already put on the card, but be that as it may, this still came out really pretty. All right, for my next card, we're going to be doing some layering of the snowflakes. But before we do that, I want to ink blend a panel. And I'm going to be using the Wilted Violet, Seedless Preserves, and Shaded Lilac. These are all Distress Oxides. Okay, I'm going to bring in my sticky mat. Put this down. This will just kind of hold that paper in place, give me like a landing. I'm going to take each of these colors, and I'm going to start with my lightest one. Then I'm just going to work my way to darker, and I'm just going to haphazardly put down ink, okay? I don't care if it's blotchy. I don't care if the areas are the same size. I'm just wanting to get color down on this paper. So here it is, and you can see where pretty much everything is blended together, but the colors are still there. You can still differentiate them. And it has smoothed out the surface so they don't look all splotchy. So that was great. Okay, so next, the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a silicone mat. Okay, and I'm going to go over all these areas with a little bit of glue. Now, I'm going the lightest around the edge because I don't want it to get all over the place, but we need glue around our perimeter. And then we'll go through the snowflake pieces in the middle. Okay, so that's my perimeter. And then I'm just going to go along each of these middle long rows like this. All right, so then the next thing will be to take this panel here and lay this down on top of that panel, getting that lined up. Okay, and then we're going to give that a little press. Oh, that looks so pretty. I'm doing this so I don't get glue and ink on my fingers more than necessary. Okay, all right, there is our panel. And now we're going to layer these snowflakes. Okay, so on this big one, I am going to use some tape runner, but I'm also going to use liquid glue. We're going to fill in some pieces, and this will help catch the raised and indented pieces of the back panel. Yeah, I think I'll do them. Ooh, let's do this. Let's bring it over here. Okay, so like that. We're gonna cut this off on the sides. I'm gonna get my big shears ready. Okay, and then this more delicate piece here. Now, if you want to be very smart, you can put double-sided tape, like the big double-sided tape rolls that I use. You could do this on the back of your cardstock before you die cut. I did not think of that, because then that would basically turn your die cut into a ginormous sticker. But that's okay. Today I will just use the liquid glue, and when I make the future cards, I will remember to use the double-sided adhesive sheets or the rolls, the big ones, the wide ones. And okay, that would help. Not that this is that bad, okay? All right, and then this is going to go down. On top of my purple, just like so. Oh, that is so pretty, guys. And then we have this one here. You could do an all white card, everything white. That would be super cute. This is gonna go like that. You could do this or just snowflakes in the background. Like you could just do all kinds of these snowflake shapes and glue them all down. I think that will be one of the cards that I make. And then you could do like a really pretty shimmery sentiment, or ooh, better yet, you could do like a really pretty red one. That would be so pretty. And then I have a light colored purple. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sit for a second, clean up my desk, and then we'll get the card finished off. All right, let's get this card put together. All right, so we've got another card base that we're putting together. Again, I'm scoring at 5.5. That will make a top folding A2 card. We're gonna put our sticker here on the back, there. Okay, then here, now I need to cut all of this off. So I'm just gonna come here on the back, get these scissors and go right along the edge. Okay. Okay, we'll put this right up there next to that fold. Get it centered down here. Then we need a sentiment. Now I have Celebrate This Season, and I've got it in a few different colors. We're obviously not using red, so I'll set that aside. And I'm gonna think about this for a second, and I'm wondering if it would be cool to have this over like on a, yeah, actually I like that. Does that have enough glue to stick on there? Let me put a little bit more. And you can always add more of those white snowflakes too. Okay, so then the question is, this is black and white. This is like a copper. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, we might be going with copper. This is like a platinum. Not sure I like that. And then this is the gold. Ugh. All right, I really like this one here. This is like a copper color. And I think I'll just put it down here along the bottom. Okay, here are the two cards that we made today. I love how these turned out. These layering snowflake stencils are so fun to work with. The background snowflake is super easy and nice to add to any card. And then over here we had one of the layers of the layering snowflake, and then a snowflake, I'm going to call it a wheel from the other one. I just stuck that on there. And these are fantastic. I love how these turned out. And it was fun to play with a variety of the things in the release. So we've got, you know, the background snowflake, we've got the layering snowflakes, and then we've got this snowflake wreath. And then I just incorporated sentiments and embellishments. This is what I've been playing with for the last few days. So now I have a head start on the Christmas cards, and I'm really glad you joined me today. Let me know down in the comments which one of these is your favorite. I'm having a really hard time deciding because I like all of them, but I really think this one's my favorite. Like I could just make these all day long. Beautiful. So just my favorite is that one. All right. Don't forget to like the video, hype, share with your crafty friends. All right. Don't forget to tell me which one's your favorite. And if you're not already subscribed, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and your notification bell. And until I see you in the next card or craft, as always, have an amazing day and happy crafting. Hello, crafty friends. Thanks for making it to the end with me. I'm so glad you were here. Here are a couple more videos that I think you might find inspiring. And don't forget to like, comment below, and subscribe. So until I see you in the next video, have a great day. And as always, happy crafting.